Hello everyone, let's work on some of the questions of the homework for finding trig values with calculator. I'm going to do some of the questions for you. Sine of 32. This one is really easy because you already have this function on the calculator, sine. But just make sure your calculator is in degrees mode because this is in degrees. This angle here is in degrees. So I go to mode and then change my calculator to degrees mode, enter. So just simply use sine of 32. And this is the value of that. Okay, so you can just write the first 2 or 3 decimals depending on what the question is asking you. Next, let's find this one, secant of this value, this angle. As you see, we don't have the function of secant on the calculator, but we know that secant is reciprocal of cosine. So if you find 1 over cosine of 253.2, that's going to be the answer of this question. So I'm going to make a fraction and write 1 over cosine of 253.2. And that's the value of the function. Okay. Again, let's do this one, cosecant of 8.7. We don't have this function on the calculator, so you need to find 1 over sine of 8.7 degrees on calculator and find it. I'm going to leave this for you. For functions like sine, cosine, and tangent, you have these functions on calculator, so you directly can use them. But for these functions, cosecant, cotangent, secant, and cotangent, you need to find the reciprocal. Now, for the next group of questions, we are trying to find the angle. So notice the difference between these questions and the second group. The first group, we had the angle and wanted to find the value of trig function of that angle. But this time, we're looking for the angles. Basically, here, if I have cosine 81 of 0.47, means there was an angle, that cosine of that angle was 0.475, and we're looking for the angle. Okay, so these are inverse functions, basically. Or in this question, sine of theta equal to this value, you're looking for the missing part of the question, theta. So theta will be sine -1 of 0.873. And so for either of this question, 9 or 10, since the inverse functions are on our calculator, you see cosine -1, sine -1, we can easily use our calculator to find it. So for example, second cosine of 0.475. Oh, this is point. And it's equal to 61.64 degrees. Okay, so for these ones, you easily just go to your calculator and use the inverse function. But for cotangent -1, we don't have the inverse function on the calculator, so you have to use the reciprocal function. So you're going to find the reciprocal of both function and the argument. Cotangent has a reciprocal of tangent -1, and this value is going to be flipped 1.756, and then use your calculator for that. So you go second tangent of 1 over 1.756. and it's equal to 29 degrees almost. Okay. Next one, number 12, arcsecant. We know that arcsecant is the same as secant -1 of 2.217. Again, we don't have this function on calculator, so you're going to find the reciprocal of both function and the argument. This is cosine -1 of 1 over 2.217. And then find the value. Use your calculator to find it. All the other questions down here also, we're going to do the same thing, except that make sure your calculator is in radian mode. That means you change the modes here from degrees to radian. Make sure you highlight radian, enter on that, and your calculator is in radian mode. And then just do the same thing that we did before to solve these questions.